Kiana had always moved through life like a soft breeze, present, but unnoticed. In her early 20s, she was small in size, gentle in voice, and humble in appearance. Nothing about her demanded attention, and she preferred it that way. Quiet girls like her learned early that the world rarely paused for them. It was a warm evening when everything changed. Kiana was walking home after buying a few groceries with the little money she had left. The sun was setting, the sky painted orange and pink, and she walked as she always did, fast, focused, thinking of nothing but getting home before dark. Then she heard it. A slow engine. Smooth. Expensive. Not the kind of sound her neighborhood was familiar with. She ignored it at first. Cars passed all the time. But this one slowed down. And slowed more. Until it finally stopped beside her. Kiana froze. A black Mercedes-Benz, polished like glass, sat quietly next to her. She swallowed hard, unsure whether to walk faster or stand still. The tinted window rolled down, revealing two young men, clean, handsome, the kind of men who looked like comfort and money followed them everywhere. The driver leaned toward her and joked. Small madam, why are you this short? You're cute, but where is your height? Kiana felt embarrassed, but somehow, she smiled. There was kindness in his tone, not mockery. Then the passenger spoke. His voice was calm, too calm, like warm water on a cold day. Don't mind him. What's your name? Kiana looked properly at him for the first time and her heart misbehaved. The young man had clear white eyes, bright white teeth, soft palms, smooth skin, and a gentle expression. He looked like someone who had never fought life, someone life protected. He stretched his hand. She hesitated. Then she shook it. His touch was soft. I'm Festus, he said with a small smile. And you? Kiana, she answered quietly. He nodded, like he already liked the sound of her name. Then he asked, how old are you? Without thinking, without planning, without understanding why. Kiana lied. I'm 27. She wasn't close to that age. But she didn't want him to see her as a child. Festus chuckled softly. Okay, Miss 27, can we be friends? Friends? Someone like him, with someone like her? Kiana tried to hide her shock. But something about Festus, the softness in his voice, the gentleness in his eyes, made her heart melt. They exchanged numbers. Before he left, Festus said one sentence that planted something in her heart. You look like someone I want to know better. The car drove off, leaving a trail of dust behind and a girl whose world had just shifted quietly. Kiana didn't sleep well that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard Festus's calm voice, saw his soft smile, replayed the way he gently held her hand when they exchanged contacts. No man had ever spoken to her with such gentleness. No one had ever looked at her like she mattered. The next morning, her phone vibrated. Festus. Good morning, short madam. Kiana smiled into her pillow like a child. She replied shyly, fingers shaking as she typed. Kiana. Good morning. That simple message turned into a full conversation. From morning, to afternoon, to evening. They talked about everything. His job, her struggles, his childhood, her fears, their dreams, their frustrations. Festus listened, truly listened, like her words had weight. That same evening, he asked. Can I see you tomorrow? Ice cream date? Kiana almost said no, she didn't feel beautiful enough to stand beside someone like Festus. But something told her to take the risk. And that was the beginning. Festus showed up the next day in the same black Mercedes-Benz. This time, he stepped out of the car to greet her. He looked unreal. Clean haircut. Cream shirt. Soft palms that held no sign of stress. Kiana stood there in her simple dress, feeling small, until Festus smiled and said, You look pretty, you know. Her heart almost stopped. Nobody had ever used the word pretty and Kiana in the same sentence. Their first ice cream date was filled with laughter, loud, careless laughter she didn't know she could make. He teased her height. She teased his shiny shoes. They sat for hours, forgetting time existed. That night, Festus texted, I haven't laughed like this in a long time. Thank you. Kiana pressed her phone to her chest. She couldn't believe someone like him found joy in someone like her. Their bond grew quickly, the way some souls just recognize each other. Festus visited again. Then again. Then again. Sometimes they talked in his car. Sometimes on the roadside. Sometimes at a small local restaurant where he insisted on paying. He listened when she spoke. He encouraged her. He made her see herself differently. And Kiana, for the first time in her life, started to feel like she deserved to exist. One evening, she noticed something she hadn't seen before, a faint ring mark on Festus's finger. She didn't ask. She didn't want anything to ruin the peace she felt around him. But the next time they met, she joked. "So, how is your wife?" Festus went quiet. Then said softly, "She is fine. No excuses. No lies. Just a quiet truth." The surprising part? It didn't change anything. They remained pure friends, no flirting, no touching, no wrong intentions. Just connection. The morning of the accident, Festus called as usual. His voice was warm, calm, and familiar. During the call, he heard chopping sounds. "What's that?" he asked. "I'm cooking," she replied. "I will eat." Kiana laughed. She thought he was joking. But he wasn't. "I'll be there in 30 minutes. Panic. Fear. Nervous excitement. She looked at her small kitchen, nothing fancy, nothing impressive, but she cooked with her whole heart. Fried yam. Vegetable sauce. Chili sauce. Sausages. Sliced meat. When Festus arrived, he smiled at the smell alone. He took the food and said, "I'm still at work. Let me go back quickly. I'll eat properly there." He looked at her one last time, smiled gently. And that was the last time he ever spoke to her. Kiana didn't know why Festus did not her after taking the food. She couldn't know. She thought he got busy. Then she thought he was ignoring her. Then she thought she did something wrong. She keeps blamed herself for years. That night, Kiana couldn't sleep. She held her phone like it contained a secret. She stared at his number over and over again, wondering, why me? She didn't know that this man, this stranger in the Benz, would become one of the deepest memories of her entire life. She didn't know he would open a door inside her heart she didn't even know existed. And she didn't know that this story, which began like a warm breeze, would soon break her in a way she never imagined. Not yet. Not tonight. Tonight, she fell asleep with a small smile. And a hope she did not know would destroy her. The next day after Festus picked up the food, Kiana woke up with excitement that didn't belong to her life. She kept checking her phone, expecting a message. "Kiana, your food was amazing." "Kiana, thank you." "Kiana, I reached safely." Something. Anything. But nothing came. Morning passed. Afternoon passed. Evening passed. Still nothing. Kiana tried to convince herself. He's busy. Maybe he forgot. Maybe his phone died. But deep down, her chest tightened. Something felt wrong, but she didn't know why. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every sound made her sit up. Every passing car made her think, maybe that's him. But the day ended quietly, too quietly. Day 2. Kiana sat on her bed, holding her phone with both hands. She dialed his number. Ringing. 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 Then it stopped. Not because he answered, but because it went to voicemail. Her heart sank. She tried again. And again. And again. Nothing. She started pacing around her room, whispering to herself. Why is he not picking? Did he hate the food? Did he leave because of me? Did I say something wrong? But no matter how much she searched her memory, there was nothing wrong. Their last moment together was perfect, or so she thought. Day 5. Still no call. Kiana's chest began to ache whenever she heard his name. The silence grew louder. He had become a part of her daily life so quickly, and then disappeared just as fast. She knew he was married. She knew he had responsibilities. But he was still her friend, her first real friend in years. She whispered into the room. "Festus, what did I do?" No answer. The weeks that followed. Kiana kept calling every day, every night. Sometimes the phone rang endlessly. Sometimes it went off immediately. Sometimes it said, "The number you are calling is not reachable." Each time, her heart cracked a little more. At first, she hoped. Then she worried. Then she broke. Because she started to believe the worst, that Festus didn't want her anymore. She said to herself, "Maybe I annoyed him. Maybe he realized I'm not good enough. Maybe his wife warned him. Maybe I am nothing to him." Her thoughts became heavy knives cutting through her heart. 3 months later. Kiana barely smiled. She barely talked. Her friends asked what was wrong. She just shook her head. She couldn't tell the story because she felt stupid. How do you explain pain caused by someone you only knew for 3 weeks? But those 3 weeks felt like a lifetime. He made her feel seen. He made her feel heard. He made her feel safe. And then he vanished. 1 year later. Kiana stopped calling. Not because she didn't want to, but because each ring felt like a stab. She told herself, if Festus wanted to talk to me, he would have. Maybe I pushed him away with my feelings. She blamed herself for everything. She carried guilt like a shadow. Every day she wondered, was my food bad? Did it upset his stomach? Did I offend him? She wished she could ask, but the silence never broke. 3 years later. Kiana was no longer the girl Festus knew. She had changed. She had matured. But the wound in her heart remained open. She no longer dated. She didn't trust easily. She didn't love again. Every man who approached her was compared silently to Festus. No one came close. Not his voice. Not his gentleness. Not his ability to understand her without words. Sometimes, late at night, she scrolled through old messages. "I'll be there in 30 minutes. Don't lose this friendship." She cried quietly, pressing her phone against her chest. She missed him. She missed her friend. She missed the 3 weeks that brought her joy. And she had no idea that the truth, the real truth, was waiting for her, just 1 call away. A truth so heartbreaking it would crush her soul. A truth that would make her regret every tear she shed, and every moment she blamed herself. Because the silence she feared was not rejection. It was death. The next morning, Kiana woke up with a smile she hadn't felt in years. She replayed Festus's voice in her mind as she swept her small room. She replayed how he smiled when he took the food. How his soft voice said, "I'll eat when I reach work." Her heart felt warm in a way she didn't understand. So after washing her face, she picked up her phone and sent him a short message. "Did you enjoy the food?" She waited. Nothing came. Hours passed. Still nothing. She told herself he was busy. Maybe at work. Maybe driving. Maybe tired. Night came. She checked her phone again, still nothing. But she didn't worry too much. Festus was not the kind of person who vanished without reason. He always replied. He always reached out first. He always made time. So she slept, thinking tomorrow would be better. Day 2. Kiana woke up early and checked her phone before even standing up. No message. No missed call. No explanation. A small sting of worry touched her chest. She ignored it. She cooked herself breakfast and tried to distract her mind. Later in the day, she called him. Ringing. Ringing. Then voicemail. She whispered to herself. Maybe he's working, maybe he's too busy to pick up. She put the phone down, but her heart felt strange. Like a cold wind inside. Day 5. By now, Kiana knew something was wrong. Festus was not someone who disappeared. He always talked. Always checked up on her. Always laughed at her tiny height. Always teased her gently. But 5 days. Complete silence. Something didn't feel right. She called again. Voicemail. She sent him a message. "Festus, are you okay? Please just say something." It delivered. But no response. She waited all night, staring at her screen, refusing to sleep. She didn't know it, but at that very moment, the world was already holding a truth that would break her soul. The first month. Kiana began to panic. She checked his WhatsApp daily, he was online sometimes, but never replied. She didn't know that it wasn't Festus online. It was someone else using his phone. She kept calling, kept texting, kept praying. The silence hurt her more than any heartbreak she had ever experienced. She started questioning herself. Did I offend him? Did my food make him sick? Did his wife find out? Did he realize I'm not good enough? Did he just leave me? She cried quietly at night, hugging her pillow, shaking with confusion. Not knowing the truth was worse than knowing pain. The first year. The world moved on. People moved on. But Kiana didn't. She stopped eating well. Stopped smiling. Stopped trusting anyone. Whenever she saw a Mercedes-Benz on the street, she froze. Whenever a man laughed with soft eyes, she looked away. Whenever she passed the street where they met, she felt her knees weaken. Her friends asked, "Why can't you let go? He was married. You barely knew him." They didn't understand. Kiana wasn't hurting because she lost a relationship. There was no romance. No kiss. No promise. She was hurting because she lost the only person who made her feel alive. The only person who saw her heart. The only person who understood her pain. She lost something pure without knowing why. 3 years later. By this time, life became blurry. Kiana stopped calling. Stopped texting. Stopped hoping. She convinced herself. Festus simply got tired of me. But every time she said it, her heart felt like it was breaking again. She never fell in love. Never let anyone get close. Never healed. Festus was gone. Not just from her life, but from her world. And the truth. The truth was sitting quietly, waiting for her. Sharper than a knife. Colder than heartbreak. And it was coming. The days after Festus left with her food felt strangely quiet. At first, Kiana didn't think much of it. Maybe he was busy. Maybe work was stressful. Maybe he misplaced his phone. Maybe. But by the third day, something inside her began to twist. She dialed his number. It rang, once, twice, then ended. No answer. She tried again. This time, busy tone. Her heart dropped a little. By the 5th day, she sat on her bed staring at her phone, scrolling through their old messages. Their jokes. Their voice notes. Their silly arguments about ice cream flavors. His promises. Don't disappear from me. I like talking to you. I won't just leave. But now, he was gone. Completely. Kiana tried to calm her mind. He must be fine. He must be okay. He will call. But the silence stretched like a knife cutting her slowly. A week passed. 2 weeks. Then a month. Then 3. Kiana pretended to be fine, but inside she was melting like candle wax. Every time her phone vibrated, she ran to check. Every time a Mercedes drove by, she turned to look. Every time she cooked, she remembered how happy he looked when he smelled her food. The thought that wouldn't leave her mind was the one that hurt the most. He didn't like my food. She replayed it over and over. Maybe she cooked it wrong. Maybe it upset his stomach. Maybe he was disappointed. Maybe he looked at her food and thought she wasn't good enough for his life. She blamed herself for things she didn't even understand. Slowly, the pain changed into something heavier. A constant ache. A quiet heartbreak. Kiana stopped talking to people. Stopped trusting anyone. Stopped letting anyone get close to her. Every man who approached her reminded her of Festus. Every conversation felt fake. Every smile felt like a lie. She kept waiting for a message. A missed call. A single explanation. But nothing came. By the end of the first year, she had wiped tears so many times that her eyes felt permanently tired. By the second year, she avoided the street where they met. It hurt too much. By the third year, she had accepted one thing. Festus left her. He didn't care. She wasn't important. It broke her in a way no one around her ever noticed. That night, Kiana cried like a woman who lost her entire world. Because in a way, she had. 3 years had passed, but Kiana's heart had not moved. Life moved, seasons changed, people came and left. But a part of her stayed frozen on the last day she saw Festus carrying the food she cooked. She tried to fall in love again. She tried to smile, to breathe, to forget. But something inside her refused to heal. Every man she met reminded her that Festus never said goodbye. Every ring of her phone felt like it should be him. Every February 28th, her chest tightened. Even after all this time, she still whispered to herself, "Festus, why did you leave like that? What did I do wrong? Why didn't you talk to me?" She carried guilt like a second skin. One quiet evening, the sky cloudy and heavy, Kiana sat on her old bed scrolling through old messages. She reached Festus's number, that number she had deleted and typed again so many times. Her hand trembled. A voice inside her said, "Don't call." Another voice whispered, "Call. You deserve answers." Before her mind could stop her, her thumb hit the dial button. Ring. 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 Her heart pounded so loud she could hear it in her ears. She expected the call to end like always, switch off, voicemail, silence. But then, someone answered. A soft voice. A woman. "Hello. Who am I speaking with?" Kiana felt her soul leave her body. Hello, my name is Kiana. Please, can I talk to Festus?" There was a long, painful silence. The kind of silence that tells you your life is about to change. Then the woman let out a deep, shaky sigh. "My daughter. I'm sorry. This is not Festus. I'm his mother." Kiana froze. Her throat tightened. Her hand shook. She whispered, Where is Festus? I've been calling him for years. Please let me talk to him." The woman's voice cracked. "You can't talk to him, my dear. Because Festus died 3 years ago." Something inside Kiana broke. Clean, sharp, loud. Like glass hitting concrete. No, please, don't say that," she whispered. "I cooked for him that day. He left my house smiling. Please don't say that." Festus's mother swallowed hard. "That day, the day he came to take your food, he never reached home." Kiana felt her entire body go cold. How?" she managed to ask. "He stopped at a junction to buy water. A truck lost control and hit his car. He died before they reached the hospital." Kiana covered her mouth, shaking violently. The mother continued, voice breaking. "I kept his phone, because sometimes I call it just to hear his voicemail. I didn't know who you were, but today, something told me to pick." Tears streamed down Kiana's face, falling like rain. She choked. I thought he ignored me. I thought he didn't like me anymore. I kept calling to know if he liked my food or not. I blamed myself. I thought I was the reason he left." Festus's mother began crying too. "No, my daughter. You were the last person who made him smile. He talked about you. He said he met someone pure and kind. He said you were different." Kiana's heart shattered again. She whispered through tears. "So all these years, he wasn't avoiding me. He wasn't silent because he wanted to be. He was gone." Her sobs were so deep they sounded like they came from her bones. The mother added gently, "He didn't die because of your food. He died because life is fragile. Please, stop carrying guilt that is not yours." Kiana pressed the phone to her ear, tears dripping onto her lap. For the first time in 3 years, she felt the truth settling inside her, painful, heavy, but real. Festus didn't leave her. He didn't ignore her. He didn't forget her. Fate took him away. She cried until her body had no strength left. Until her breath broke in pieces. Until every memory of him replayed like a film she never wanted to end. When she finally whispered her last words on the call, her voice was cracked, empty, trembling. "Festus. I never stopped loving you." And for the first time in 3 years, Kiana finally let herself mourn the boy who gave her the happiest 3 weeks of her life. And the deepest wound she would carry forever. Thank you so much for watching this story. Your time, your support, and your presence mean more than words can say. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Your support helps my small channel grow. And it gives me the strength to create more stories from the heart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for believing in my stories. I told stories.